golf betting clubs, the closing stretch. This week on the PGA Tour, it's the Honda Classic at PGA National in Palm Beach Gardens in Florida, where I am. And I'm joined by both the guys this week. It's funny because we usually do the show on, well, Sunday morning, my time, before the final round begins. But it's Saturday night. We're fresh off round 3 action, and well, Duncan and Neil, we don't really have too much to talk about in that Daniel Berger has a 5-shot lead.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? It's he just seems to be playing a different golf course. Everyone else was falling away. He was just grinding out pars and taking the birdies when he got a chance, and he just looks, unstoppable now, doesn't he? He looks like he can't be caught.
Well, Duncan, you weren't here last week, but Neil and I had pretty much the same scenario with Joaquin Niemann. So he ended up storming at Riviera, which was expected for the Genesis Invitational. And we're kind of back in the same boat again. And it's kind of reminiscent of last year when Matt Jones had a commanding lead from day one at the Honda Classic. And this tournament it's a tricky course, and we've seen really high scores. We've seen the guys be challenged, but I mean, Neil, you have to agree, Daniel Berger's just put on a stellar performance.
Unbelievable, yeah. He's just so solid. I was looking at his scrambling stats, and he's number 1 in scrambling this season, and he's number 1 this week as well. Mm-hmm. So that's been the key. I know he was quite good tee to green today, but he's just like, anytime he gets himself into trouble, you're just so confident that he's going to get it up and down. His bunker play especially is just outstanding. Mm-hmm. What can you say? 5-shot lead. Shane Lowry is his closest challenger. He's going to take. He can't go at the pins. So Berger's in the best position where he can just play sensible golf tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And someone's got to try and come at him, and it's going to be difficult.
We saw the wind pick up a little bit today. It had been quite calm, really, Thursday and Friday. And PGA National is known for the windy conditions, the swirling conditions, especially around the bear trap, and the fact that there's 15 holes on the course have water on them. But I mean, Dunk, the conditions, Daniel Berger would have to seriously do something wrong on Sunday to lose this position that he's in.
Yeah, I mean, he did give the field a bit of a chance, the really sloppy bogey on the last hole. Mm. He had a chance to get up and down for his par from a relatively easy chip, and he didn't manage to make the par and opened up. It actually looked like Chris Kirk was going to hold that 7-footer for birdie, didn't it? And looked like the gap might be 4 and possibly have an interesting Sunday. But Chris obviously couldn't make the putt, and the gap remained at 5. But Daniel Berger is just excellent generally under pressure. If you look at our player rankings and our player profiles on our website, Daniel Berger's got a 4-star pressure performance rating. He's generally very solid under pressure. Other than a few minor kind of blips on his record, he's been excellent in contention so far. And with a 5-shot lead, he's really got to do something pretty disastrous to throw it away.
Mm-hmm. You tipped him at the start of the week, but he had been injured. He couldn't defend at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Then he missed the cut when he went to the WM Phoenix Open. So you had mentioned at the start of the week that Berger was going to be the favourite. However, you wanted to hear him out a little bit at his press conference and make sure he was fit and healthy. But he didn't talk to the media until really late in the week.
Yeah, absolutely. We for anyone that watches our preview show, it's called For the Win, and in that we talked about Daniel's chances and how he was our favourite from the front of the market, and how we liked him to get the job done this week. But as you say, he wasn't interviewed until later on in the week. He's a guy that needs to practice. If you read all his interviews and you read his past, whenever he's played well in the past, he's a guy that generally says, I've had to grind it out. I've had to go on the range and really, grind my swing. And he reads that practice. So therefore, for us, unless he was practicing in the week coming into this week, we were just a bit unsure. So we wanted that confirmation from the interview, but it just didn't come until too late. But if you watch the show, hopefully you did manage to get some money on Daniel and you're in a good position.
And Neil, he lives like 1 mile from the course. It's like a 15-minute drive for him to get there. Plays there all the time. If there was ever going to be a stage for him to, make this kind of mini comeback after injury and after having to miss Pebble Beach, then this would be it. But we will look at his closest competitors and just have a little chat about them. You mentioned Shane Lowry, and Neil, another guy that plays great in those kind of windy conditions. So he's going to be hoping that wind really picks up for the final round on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. I've already had a little peek at the forecast, and it's quite similar to basically every day so far this week. There's a little bit of breeze, but not enough to cause complete chaos, which we want to see, and we want to see some excitement on this leaderboard tomorrow. So yeah, if there was a little bit more wind in the forecast, I think Shane would be a strong possibility for a solid play. He's around about the 10-12 to 1 mark at the moment, 5 shots back. He was also quite disappointing last time in contention. It was on the DP World Tour. He was 1 shot behind Scott Jamieson in Abu Dhabi. We were actually at the event, and Shane was very disappointing that day. He shot a 77 to fall well into the pack. You can't argue he's got the pedigree. He's the Open champion, and he won that so impressively. But he's just got so far to catch. I just can't see it.
I know. So he's 5 shots back on 6 under par, alongside Sepp Straka, Kurt Kitayama, and Chris Kirk. All those names are actually quite similar. Difficult to say. But looking at those guys, is there anyone that's kind of really impressed you and you maybe think could be the one to give Berger a little bit of a run for his money?
No. Well, Chris Kirk's got to be feeling a little bit deflated about his back nine there, especially the double bogey, which could have been worse. There was a bit of excitement there when Daniel Berger alerted the rule official about the hitting the tree, but it seemed to affect him on that hole, and it took him 1 or 2 holes to get over it, and he did compose himself well. Kurt Kitayama was just holing absolutely everything in the last few holes. I think he's just hanging in there, and he's got a lot of pressure. He's playing for a lot of points, and to try and keep his, I just think it's going to be a tough ask. So no, just can't see any of them making a go.
Dunk, anyone that you're particularly interested in?
No, I think obviously Kurt Kitayama's got a couple of wins on the European Tour, and if he'd had a bit of a different scenario and a few more experiences on the PGA Tour, a bit more recently, maybe Kurt Kitayama could have been one who could put a run together. He's won some events on the European Tour in some quite dramatic circumstances. So, he's the kind of guy that could make a break from the pack. But like Neil said, it's been a while for him in terms of when he was last in contention, and especially on the PGA Tour, he hasn't really been up there. So I don't think so. I don't see that the weather conditions kind of offer that chance for the chasing pack. I think it maybe needed a bit more wind to really test Daniel Berger and give them a chance.
Yeah. Right, okay, well, what about the bets from the start of the week? Are you having any joy with any of them?
Yeah, well, we've got Nick Watney. Nick Watney was one of the tips that we gave to our subscribers, 300 to 1. So he's quite nicely placed, just outside the top 8 at the moment. He's in 13th place. And obviously a good round from Nick tomorrow will see us land some each way money. It's going to take something magical for him to get that win. but certainly the each way places are well within his grasp. He missed a few short ones today coming in, which was frustrating. But certainly tomorrow it's all to play for. So a 300 to 1 each way place wouldn't be too shabby.
Okay, good. So we have no other bets that we're going to be giving out right now, and rightly so.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the 3-ball or the 2-ball action tomorrow, and we're going to put out a parlay. We always do our closing stretch parlay, so we'll put that out on Twitter tomorrow. But obviously, there's no odds or pairings available at the moment. But keep an eye out for that.
Okay, excellent. Right, well, another week we're heading into the final round. It's a little bit of a foregone conclusion. However, there's always a little bit of drama around PGA National. So we will see what Sunday brings at the Honda Classic. But guys, we do have way more dramatic tournaments coming up over the next few weeks. Next week, the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill, which is always an exciting one, definitely one for the big hitters. And Bryson DeChambeau is going to be back to defend. And then the following week, it's my home event with the Players' Championship. And I'll be out there all week. So there's that $20 million purse that the guys are going to be playing for. So really everything matters then. Right. Tell us about how we can subscribe and how people can get your tips at the start of the week and check out your other show as well, which is great.
Yeah, so the website is golfbettingclub.com. You'll find everything on there in terms of how to subscribe. We've also got player profiles on there. So if you want to go and have a look at any players, whether it's on the DP World Tour or the PGA Tour, go into the website, have a look at the player profiles. And find out some information that you might not know about some of your favourite players. On Twitter, we're at Golf Betting Club, and you'll see that we post regularly on there as well. And then in terms of the other show, if you want to check us out, we usually post on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and that's called For the Win, and that's on YouTube.
Excellent. Right, and we will be back with the closing stretch next week. As I said, Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill, and hopefully it's a little bit more exciting.